Lean forward slightly. Look straight at the speaker and listen with a sparkle in your eye, as though you might be thinking, gee, this is the most wonderful thing I ever heard in all my life.
Welcome to the show, my friend. Thanks for coming round again.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
What's shaking, cats and kittens? We are back. It is 2015, and the OKC show has returned, just like the Phoenix, except we're in OKC. And it is great to be back. I am your host, Jason Baffrey, and we have a great show lined up for you. It has been a wet few weeks here in the Oklahoma City area. If you're listening from in-state or out-of-state and you've missed out, it's been a torrential rain. If I were a better woodworker, I would have built an ark already. It has been absolutely crazy. I mean, you could say it's been raining cats and dogs, but that's a little cliche. But I did see a couple of chihuahuas in my backyard that I don't know where they came from. So there you go. It is so fun to be back here. We've had a lengthy hiatus and been busy doing things, and have always wanted to get back with the show. And you can always find us at okcshow.com. And we're proud to announce that we're now part of the new Oklahoma Talking Co., which is a network for podcasting in Oklahoma City. So you can check that out at oklahomatalking.co. And of course, OKC Show, you can find us at okcshow.com. You can find us on iTunes or SoundCloud and other cool places coming soon. And hopefully, if you're listening now, you've already found us at one of those places. So let's jump right into it. We have a guest. We had to get him in kind of in a hurry because he is literally leaving the country on Friday, just a few days away. And Nate Allen joins us on the OKC show. A name that you may not be familiar with, but by the end of this program, you'll know everything about him, at least the things that he can talk about. So, Nate, welcome to the OKC show.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Now, you are getting ready to leave town, not just town, but you bought a motorcycle, and you are leaving the country.
Yeah, I'll be leaving town and kind of exodus of the country, hopefully by the end of this week. We'll see how that goes.
And where are you headed?
Well, the end-all be-all goal is the southern point of Chile. I'm going to ride my motorcycle down there through Central America and South America, and with any luck, I might be able to swing a ride on one of the cruise ships to Antarctica. I haven't quite planned that bit out yet because it's still a little ways away.
Wow, that's a lengthy ride.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit. I haven't even looked at a map yet, but I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't plan to be home back in the States until about this time next year, though.
Now, are you a regular motorcycle rider? I mean, are you a guy that gets out and rides on a regular basis?
Well, I'll be honest, I haven't been on a bike in about 5 or 6 years. I sold my last one to kind of pay for school and get rid of some extra debt that I wasn't into. And I've been riding since I was about 6 years old. And when I was younger, I was into motocross and kind of freestyle motocross. Then I bought crotch rockets and got into all that. And life happened and just kind of got out of it for a while. And I thought it was a good time to get back into it.
Yeah. Now, I'm somewhat of a motorcycle guy. I've got a bike. I ride
Nice.
here and there. I'm a fair weather rider these days. But, man, I'm good for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'm ready to get off. But you're going to have to go for a ride for a long time to get to Chile.
Yeah, my first day I bought my motorcycle, I bought it that night and woke up about 5 in the morning, filled up the tank and rode 666 miles down to Arkansas through Talamina. Came back here to the city and wrote down a list of everything I wanted to upgrade on it and went on Amazon the next day.
Yeah, I hope a seat was one of those things.
Actually, it was, and it finally got here just now.
Great. What kind of bike did you get?
I rode about every adventure bike made. I rode like big Yamahas, the 1200s. I rode the 250s. I eventually got to a 650 V-Strom. It's made by Suzuki. They're kind of the ones that started the adventure bike movement. And I guess the recipe, they got it right on the first go because they really haven't changed a lot in the last 10 years. And it's bulletproof. It's done everything I wanted it to do and then some. I've ground the pegs. I even ground the skid plate that's on it. I was leaning over so far down there in Talamina. Just phenomenal little motorcycle.
Now, for the people that are listening that may not be motorcycle aware, let's talk a little bit about what an adventure bike is compared to, a Harley Davidson.
Sure, yeah. So like a Harley will be like your big cruiser bikes like you'd see in Terminator 2 with Schwarzenegger. Adventure bikes are more of a on-off-road. The idea is like it has good road manners, but you can still go off-road. And that was something that was kind of important to me because going down through Central America, South America, it's the roads, they leave a little bit to be desired, to be honest. It's probably not the best highway system in the world, so being more comfortable usually equates to having more suspension and better tires and just a more rigid frame. And that's kind of the design of these motorcycles.
Yeah. Now, forgive me for being ignorant, but I haven't really been out of the country that much. I took a trip to Monterrey, Mexico once, but I mean, are there roads that go that far down? I mean, can you ride straight from Oklahoma City to Chile and stay on the roads, or is there like jungle riding involved? How does that work?
There will be a bit of jungle riding. There's a stretch of about 100 miles in between Panama and Colombia, and it's called the Darien Strait. That's pretty much impassable. Only about 3 guys have done it and lived to tell the tale. That name is so infamous, they actually made my riding suit after the Darien Strait. It's called a Darien. It's made by Aerostitch, and it's the best riding protection that money can buy. But at the same token, like to get across there, usually you have to take a ferry. You put your motorcycle in a crate, ratchet strap it down, hope for the best, like the crate shows up not upside down.
Yeah.
And you can continue on from Colombia. But there's supposedly plans to keep the transcontinental highway from Alaska all the way down to Argentina in place and up and going. And I think there's a bit of a squabble between Colombia and Panama with drug trafficking and cattle and whatnot. So hopefully they will get that squared away. But in the meantime, they make boats. And for the worst case scenario, I understand that you can hire some villagers and they will actually build a canoe for you and take you down a little bit of the open ocean way through the stream. So that should be fairly
So you have to canoe your bike?
That's kind of what it sounds like at this point. I haven't done a lot of research. Once again, like I bought a motorcycle about 2 weeks ago. Started outfitting it about a week ago. I haven't even looked at a map. I know I need to go south.
Okay, now, I have to point this out. I mean, this sounds a little crazy.
It could be construed as crazy. I guess really at the end of the day, it's all relative.
Well, that's true. But I mean, when did you decide to take this trip and what brought you to that decision?
I guess it was about a month ago.
Yeah.
I was looking into a couple of business deals and I was kind of excited about it. And really what happened is I just kind of thought, man, if I was going to die like a year from now, would I rather jump into these next deals or would I rather go acquire a motorcycle and get lost in the jungle for a little while? And I thought about that for about probably 3 or 4 days and told the guys, thanks very much for the offer. I appreciate it. If you need me, I'll be at the motorcycle shop. Took off from there and started riding different bikes.
Wow. Are you a big traveler? I mean, do you go to different places on a regular basis?
I truly am. I love to travel. That's the one thing that makes me feel alive. That's what makes me want to wake up in the morning. That's what makes me want to stay out late. It's truly the best money you can spend, in my humble opinion.
So talk about some of the places that you've been.
Sure, yeah. I guess my first trip out of the country, like you, I was down in Mexico. I graduated high school and I went down to Cancun for a little while. While I was down there, I met some people, decided to stay for a month, had a blast, and then I came back up here to Oklahoma City and I worked around the States. I got to travel with my job a little bit and I decided, okay, well, I want to do some more world traveling. So I went through like Western Europe, I went through Eastern Europe, I've been through Southeast Asia, a bit through South America, I've been all through the Middle East. Wouldn't highly suggest the Middle East. Right now, it's a bit of a...
Yeah, there's a couple of things going on over there.
Yeah, it's been going on for about 2,000 years.
Yeah.
It was sure to wind down here pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be any day.
Yeah, exactly.
So you make the decision, you're going to go to South America, you buy a motorcycle a couple of weeks ago, you're outfitting it. I mean, do you have a job that you have to take vacation and go, hey, I'm going to be gone for the next however long it's going to take? And I mean, what about your family? What's going on? What is everybody thinking about this?
I'll level you with you. Jobs, there's a reason why they're JOB. It's called just over broke.
Yeah.
And as long as you're working for someone else, you'll always build someone else's dream. And the whole idea for me, about the time I was 15, I wanted to be financially independent. I didn't want to have to punch a clock and enter white-collar slavery where they tell you when you can show up and when you can leave. And really more than anything else, when you're hungry and when you can take a break. That to me is not freedom. That's not living. So I did it for a while, bit my teeth, ground it out, and my whole concept was live like no one else for a little while, and that way later you can truly live like no one else. So for me, it was the whole goal of financial independence. And we're not talking about millions in the bank. We're talking about relative comfort, where you can go out, have some drinks, have some lunch, enjoy, go to South America if that's what you want to do. But really, you can live down there so much cheaper than you can here. For what you could basically just exist here, you could live a fairly luxurious lifestyle down there.
Yeah. So are you planning on coming back?
Well, that remains to be seen. No, I do plan on being back. Probably this time next year. I do feel like that would be about my estimated time of arrival, and that's for several reasons. One being temperature. Right now, it's going to be quite cold down in like Argentina and Chile because it's their wintertime. It's summertime here, obviously, now. So as we continue on, my plan is to go down through like Ecuador and Peru and get there about October, November, and it'll be their spring. So hopefully it'll be a little warmer. I know it'll be a little more wet. That's actually their wet season, but you know, it's all part of the deal.
I think you're getting a taste of it now here.
Sure. Yeah. This is a good experience. It's
Right.
a little taste, a little morsel.
So you're looking at being gone for a year. Obviously, the goal is not, this isn't, I'm going to set the land speed record on getting from Oklahoma City to the tip of South America. You have, you're going to enjoy this trip, no doubt. And do you have places in mind that you're going to go see, or are you just going to kind of play it as it comes?
This is the way I travel, and I don't really know of a better way to do it. So this is kind of how I roll. Is I have a destination, and let's say it's Thailand. I know I'm going to fly into Bangkok. I bring a bag full of clothes and some nice, comfortable tennis shoes. And I show up, and I stay in a hostel for the first 2 or 3 nights, talk to people, see where they liked going, and then I go there. And then I go to those 2 or 3 places, and I meet other people and see where they liked, and then I go there. So eventually, I get to see everything I wanted to see. I just don't have like a definitive plan. Like, okay, well, it's Tuesday at 2:00, so we need to be at the museum, and no one has time for that.
Right.
It's not part of the.
You don't have an itinerary.
Sure, no, of course not. The whole goal to me is the trip. Enjoy the journey. The destination, if you get there, that's awesome. Like, whether it's tomorrow or whether it's a month, it doesn't matter. If you stay somewhere, you like it, enjoy it, embrace it, and I think ultimately, we'll only regret the things that we don't do. We'll never regret the things that we did do. And if it's staying an extra week in Bolivia or staying like in Ecuador and kiteboarding, I mean, if it tickles your fancy, do it. Spend the money, spend the time, spend the effort, exude that energy, and embrace it.
Yeah, that's a great attitude that probably a lot of people don't get a chance to either don't have or like you say, I mean, I've been brainwashed and it's not something that you think about. You don't think about, I mean, the average person, I don't think, and maybe it's just me, but you don't consider, hey, I'm going to take a year and I'm going to go to South America and I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Obviously family, kids, and those types of things hinder those types of objectives in some periods of life. I think even an average single person isn't necessarily doing that, are they?
No, I imagine you're quite right because, I mean, like, you think about the status quo. Most people, I guess, whether it's brainwashing or whether it's based on, like, consumerism, it really is just, it's all conditioning. And then what it boils down to is when you're out of high school, most people don't know what they want to be.
Yeah.
And more importantly, they don't know who they want to be. And that's like the real bummer of the whole thing is the what will be figured out real easy once you figure out the who. And for most people, it's, oh, well, I need to go to college, and that way I can find myself and get a real job. And then they go to college, and they quote-unquote find themselves. And by that time, usually they've had a long-term girlfriend or at least some form of a wife or spouse. And then they decide, well, we're pretty happy together. We're going to go ahead and buy a house and a white picket fence and settle down with 2.4 kids and a dog. And then that is just the status quo. And I guess it is quite comfortable and it is very easy. And that works for a lot of people, and that's awesome. I applaud that. Me personally, it wouldn't work for me. It doesn't make me feel passionate about life. It doesn't make me want to wake up early.
Yeah. Where did you get this perspective? Was this something that you learned from your parents? Have you always had the wandering spirit, I mean, as you grew up, or were they travelers? Did they instill any of this in you? How did that come about?
Like when I was real young, I grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we didn't really have a whole lot of money, but we always had a really good time. And something that I remember as a child is like we'd go to like Daytona Bike Week, and we'd take a road trip down there, and we'd sleep out on the beach and watch the stars and make a bonfire. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Now, granted, at the time when I was like 7, I didn't realize we slept on the beach because we didn't have any money.
Right.
Like I realized that, man, this is awesome. It's our family and we're spending time together and we're out like playing in the waves. That's what I remember. So to me, it's not about the money. It's more about the time and the people that you spend it with. And I think through my childhood, I traveled so much because I lived with different members of my family, and then I moved out with my mom out here in Oklahoma. And that was just a huge thing for me. And then who I consider my dad is my stepdad. He was a huge influence in my early life, is showing like you can do what you want to do. You set your mind to it and you can really make it happen. And then I guess as I got older, the more I did, the more confidence I had in myself, even though there'll always be people saying you can't do it or naysayers. You really do. You have to do what's right for you.
Yeah.
You can't do what your parents or your teachers want. It has to be right for you.
Yeah, that's great. Very exciting, and I think a lot of people will appreciate hearing that and be interested in your trip and your travels. Let's talk a little bit about your involvement here in the city. You have some real estate as well as doing some aircraft stuff, but you own a place down by the Plaza District.
Yeah, sure. I have a little quadplex. It's on 16th Street, just about 2 blocks away from the Mule, going east towards like the Mesta Park area. I bought that building when I was 19, and I guess the whole thing for me is I saw a lot of potential in that area. I only buy stuff I like.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be in that area, so I bought something in that area so I could live there. The whole goal to me was to see that area of the community be revived, and if I could be in some way, even as marginal as just owning one piece of real estate and making it a nice place to be, and a luxurious place, and an energy efficient place, that one little thing, if that was like just what tipped the iceberg over the scale to make it the whole thing pop. I mean, I'm not saying that was me, but I feel like if everyone did that in that area, it would be up and coming. And sure enough, the community is behind it 110%. Everyone's out there making it happen. It's a gorgeous place. It's a blast. Every Friday night is just always crazy shenanigans. I love it.
Yeah. You're listening to the OKC Show. Our guest is Nate Allen, and we're talking about his transcontinental motorcycle trip, getting ready to venture off on Friday.
Yep.
And as he heads to South America, and also a little bit about his involvement here in the city with the Blue Alamo.
Blue Alamo, yeah.
Down by the Plaza District. Now, we talked a little bit before we went on the mics, but you said you were out of town, traveling, doing some different things in different countries during the time that the Plaza District has really kind of taken off and built up and turned into what it is. I mean, was it a surprise for you when you came back and to see what was going on? I mean, what is that like for you?
It was a bit of culture shock because I didn't know how to really take it. I flew home and there was a giant skyscraper coming up from downtown. Had no idea that was being built. I come home on a little bitty CRJ 200. It's a small passenger jet, and the plane had to go around the building to come into the airport. And I was like, okay, well, this was Oklahoma City. I go down to the plaza like I normally do, and it wasn't what I recall 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It was a very lovely change, great people, very progressive. Just the feeling in the air is very electric, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. I love it.
Yeah, they've really done some great things down there. Our friend Kristen Vales has done a great job. We talked to her several years ago, but she's now moved on to bigger and better things, and we wish her the best of luck. But she's done a great job with the Plaza District and everything that's going on, and it's great to see the restaurants and the festivals and everything that happens down there. It's just such a cool place.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome.
So you're a traveler. Let's talk about what's one of the best trips you've been on.
Well, I get asked quite a bit, what's my favorite place I've ever been to? And, without a doubt, I have to say Indonesia. I really do. I spent about 2 months there. I flew into the island of Bali. I went around to like Java and Jakarta and some of the Gili Islands. And it's just beautiful. The people are amazing. The food is just out of this world. You can do anything on those islands. You want to go climb a volcano that's active, you can do it. You want to go scuba diving at 110 feet in crystal clear water that you don't need to wear a wetsuit, you can do that too. It's beautiful. I snorkeled with sea turtles for about 7 hours, and I think about that at least once a month. Just that was so amazing.
Yeah, I bet. Other cool places you've been?
Well, I've been through like Western Europe, Eastern Europe. Last year I spent about 5 months in the Czech Republic, made some great friends, ate some good food. The beer over there is just top notch. You can't beat it. It's world renowned. Before that, I spent about a month in Peru and a month in Ecuador. Really, really good time. I would highly suggest, if anyone really wanted to travel, you can go to Central or South America. Very cheap, very easy. There's no jet lag. You just go straight south. It's like an hour difference of time.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it's beautiful. I was in Ecuador for about a month, and I climbed Chimborazo. It's the tallest volcano in Ecuador. It's about 19,000 feet. And the first 17,000 feet aren't bad. You have to ice axe the last 2,000 feet. And that took a little dexterity. I didn't train up for that. And it showed. And when I got back home, I was exhausted. I was useless for about 3 days.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of near-death experiences?
I call those near-life experiences.
Okay.
Because I really feel like when you're that close to death, that's when you know what it's like to truly be alive. And I don't say that to be nostalgic or put that on a bumper sticker. I say that because I really do feel that way. It's it's so unique and different because I feel like most people never really get that close. Like they see it on the news or they may be watching it in movies. It's different when you're there and that visceral feeling and you can feel your veins pumping full of like energy and life. It's just, to me, I'm not going to say like go out and be a adrenaline junkie by any stretch of the imagination, but if you ever get involved in anything like that and ever have that event arise, I suggest take time and enjoy the moment.
Yeah. So you're getting ready to head out Friday, hopefully.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
And do you have concerns? I mean, what things do you worry about, or do you worry about things? I mean, with the perspective you have, I mean, do you set off and you go, these are the kind of the things I'm worried about. And, I want to stay away from this area, or I don't want to, eat this food, or I don't want to get eaten by a lion, or not that there's lions in South America, but
I imagine there's mountain lions.
Yeah.
No, I got to be honest with you, man. Like, I've always looked at it this way. Worrying is like paying interest on a debt we don't owe because we only have the moment. Nothing else is guaranteed after that. I mean, to me, when you worry and fret, it's spending energy and effort that you could be spending on anything else beyond just living and doing and seeing and achieving. So for me, when people ask me these kind of questions, I always think back and, like a lot of people, I was working in the Middle East and they said, oh man, you have to be so careful and it's so dangerous and blah. It is, but you go over there expecting it. You don't expect to like snuggle a box of kittens and feel like you're hugging rainbows. So a big thing for me was when I was in those locations, I met some of the best people in the world. I ate some of the best food I've ever had in my mouth. Some of the sunsets I saw, like, I take your breath away. I would just have to walk away from people and just, this is mine. You have the rest of the day. I'm going to sit here and watch this sun go over a mountain.
Yeah. Do you share these experiences with anybody or in any way? I mean, you have a blog or anything that are you going to write a book? Are you going to put a picture book together? I mean, what happens to, what's inside of Nate's brain and how do other people get to experience, vicariously through you?
Sure. Well, I've been asked by several people about blogging and writing a book. And this one guy I was introduced to, that's how he makes his living. He's just traveling and writing, and he does quite well for himself. But to me, I look at that as it's not the best use of my time to sit there and pound out 10,000 words every day and tell people about my feelings. I truly think the best idea would be for you to go out and experience life. Like, it doesn't make sense for me to tell you about my experiences because 1,000 people could have the same event happen and have 10,000 different experiences. So I suggest go out, see it, do it. Don't make excuses. Just go make it happen.
Yeah.
But I will be on Facebook. That way mom and dad know I'm still alive and I'll post pictures and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So what do mom and dad think about this?
I will say mom and dad have always been my biggest supporters.
Yeah.
They are concerned, and it's just like any other time I've taken off on another trip, whether it be the Middle East or to Europe or whatever. I told mom in the kitchen yesterday, I guess it was 2 days ago. I was like, well, I love you. If I die on this one, at least you know I died doing something I love, and I'd rather do.
That's always reassuring for moms to hear.
Sure, yeah, exactly. And really, at the end of the day, if I guess my thought process, if God forbid I died tomorrow or whatever, like, she could go back and be like, well, at least he died doing something he loved, and as opposed to living here on his knees and just hoping for the best and praying for the worst and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So you don't have a blog. We've got a Facebook.
I do have a Facebook.
So
Yeah,
I think since we don't have a way to send everybody to follow with what you're going along, we will at the very least follow along with you, and maybe we can repost some of your information on the OKC Show page and our Facebook page, which we do have, and Twitter and that sort of thing, so we can let everybody keep up with you, because I think we're all going to be really curious to see how things are going for you, and
Awesome.
keep up with you and make sure that you are still alive. And
Good man. I don't care what I was saying about you. No, that'd be awesome. I'd love it.
yeah, and it's really intriguing, and I applaud you for having the courage to do what you want to do.
Sure.
And it sounds exciting, and I think like I said, a long motorcycle trip to that, if you've got the right bike, it's going to be great. I wouldn't want to do it on mine right now, but that's okay.
Well, it's kind of like being a mechanic. Like, the tools don't make the mechanic, but they damn sure help if you got the right tools.
Yeah, absolutely. Nate, we appreciate you taking the time to come in and join us on our OKC show. We wanted to get you in before you left town, because it is a very interesting story, and you're an interesting guy. And there's so much that we could probably talk about. I mean, we could probably do a whole other show just on your financial perspectives and what you've done there. And maybe when you get back, we'll do that.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. I'd love to be back. Thanks so
that'll be
much.
great.
It's been a pleasure and an honor coming out today. I appreciate you guys making time for me.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you the best of luck and safe travels and all of that. And ladies and gentlemen, if you'll keep up with us on the OKC Show Facebook, we'll let you keep up with Nate and his trip to South America. Ladies and gentlemen, Nate Allen. And we are going to wrap it up for Justin Pruitt, who's stepping in as producer for us today. I am Jason Baffrey. We'll catch you next time.
The OKC Show is a production of Destiny Creative.